In this technological world, we're all addicted to our phones on which we're being bombarded with content. There are thousands of providers creating content, all vying for our cute kitten. Attention.
Research shows that people don't read a web article, a digital article, for longer than 8 to 15 seconds on average. It means that they barely read the headline and gaze at the main image and just move back onto their Facebook feed or Twitter feed and onto the next article. Publishers and advertisers, being aware of the fact that consumers have very short attention span nowadays, have started using techniques of sending pretty shallow, short messages that are not really engaging and are not really helpful or productive in any way. And I think the real answer to this problem is to create something that will hook the users and actually engage them, something that will make them go out of their way and stop their marathonic in and out quest for content and actually pay closer attention for a minute. And that's where you have a real opportunity to make a meaningful exchange with the consumer.
Content comes in many forms: editorial, advertising, entertainment, the list goes on. So how can publishers make theirs stand out?
In order to win the attention war, the bid for users' attention, what you have to do is to treat your content as an experience. Rather than try to convey a message and have a passive consumer just listen to it and consume and absorb it, you have to create an opportunity for a dialogue with your user. You have to create an experience that for the end user, for the consumer, is going to be an opportunity to not only passively consume something, but to actually participate in the discovery process and feel like what they just read about and what they just learned is a result of an active experience in which they played a part in.
So the communication needs to be two-way, engagement through questions or interaction. That means not just thinking of an article as linear storytelling.
If you construct your narrative not as just a linear flow of information that is dropped upon someone, but rather as a discovery process, as something that starts with a question, that gives the consumer an opportunity to respond, to make a choice, to have an impact on the narrative, then they'll be much more engaged and much more involved in the conversation.
That need for conversation is a huge challenge for traditional media operating in an online world. So what can they do?
So I think that traditional media publishers are struggling for a bunch of years now, and it's evident in their consumption data about how people interact with their content, and it becomes very evident in their P&L as well. They make less money because advertisers realize that people don't pay as much attention to the content of publication as they used to. The way to do it is to go interactive, to have an opportunity to not just create an article that is composed of long text phrases and images and headlines, which are the classic tools of publishing for the past 500 years, but an article that is actually, or an experience that is actually composed of questions and answers, of polls, of interactive elements, of very visual elements, of dynamic data components. And when you use those, you can construct your story in a way that's more attuned to the readers of the 21st century.
But it's not all bad news. Editorially led outlets are still trusted environments for brands, but the language we use in communications, whatever the type, needs to change.
Brand safety means everything. It means everything for advertisers and it means everything for consumers. When I want to read an article, I want to know that the outlet that publishes this article or the author that composed it are holding to a certain standard of content integrity and best practices, so I know to actually trust their content. And I think that that's something that no one should ever compromise. However, when you speak to someone, you need to speak their language. If I spoke to you and I used Japanese or any other language that you don't speak, it will be a very ineffective communication. Speaking to a young audience or to today's people with the kind of publishing toolset that were invented 500 years ago of long text articles is as efficient as speaking to you in Japanese. I think that in order to make a dialogue work, you need to speak the recipient's language.
Unfortunately, there is some bad news for mobile advertisers.
When I meet ad agencies, I always open the meeting by asking the people in the room, I say, raise your hand if you've ever clicked on a mobile ad. And guess what? There's like complete embarrassing silence in the room, nobody raises their hand. And then I'm telling them, so you guys don't even eat your own dog food? Maybe rather than recommend your clients to invest all of their advertising budget in the kind of inventory that you guys would not be receptive to, let's have them invest all of it or some of it in an exciting format of content that you guys are actually excited and looking forward to be engaged with. You've got to be equally creative and create advertising messages in formats that users are actually very receptive to and very eager to consume. So when we see a good viral video that was created by a brand, or a branded quiz, or some sort of an experience that users are actually enjoying and actually look forward to be engaged with, that's when they're actually receptive to hear the advertiser's message, and that has proven to develop a very high affinity and very high brand awareness, because people actually view this content as something that they are interested in and not something that's imposed on them.
Hello, I'm James Wright. Thanks for watching Marketing Media Money. To check out more online videos, just click on the boxes and don't forget to subscribe to the CNBC Live channel at the bottom of the screen.